So today we will conclude with me just summarizing the end of the sutra. Nepal is so special and personally for me. There's just so many memories. I have walked from Gorakhpur to Lumbini to catch next bus to Kathmandu in order to receive 16 Karmapa Rangjung Rigvidoji's teaching. I have joined 16 Karmapa when he used to circumambulate Bauddhanath Stupa somewhere around 3 in the morning. This is also a place where I have received so many teachings from Japjit Tujum Rinpoche. And of course, I have to single out Japjit Rinpoche Rinpoche, who actually nurtured me physically and spiritually and emotionally. Even today, every time I go to Tirpuvan airport, Tirpuvan, right? I have memory of going there to see him off every time he goes somewhere. So for me to have this opportunity to have such kind of time and situation to share a very profound teaching such as Prajna Paramita in this place, here in this city, is really special. And I have to share this, I have to sort of show off. I have written some sort of a poem for Nepal. And it goes something like this. Way to go, Nepal. Your sovereign and family wiped out. Sorry. You are sovereign, you are like a king, and the family wiped out completely. No government for decades.
Yes.
Constant infighting, bullied by neighbors, and ravaged by earthquake. You still stand on your feet. You have not lost the touch of the divine, not bloated by any superiority complex, not deflated by any inferiority complex.
Yeah.
In myriad ways, you still make many high, you know, like not high. And your temple bells still ring. So that's my, I don't know, expression of Nepal and how I feel. This is where Buddha was born.
这是佛陀诞生之地。
And one of my book mentions the Prince of India, you know, Buddha. Many Nepalese were offended. Saying that, oh, you know, Buddha, you know, Siddhartha was born in Lumbini, not in India. He was not a prince of India. I'm so happy that they are annoyed. Please, do more than just being annoyed. Yes, Siddhartha was born in Lumbini, and if he is still alive, he would be holding a Nepalese passport. But that's not good enough. You have to embrace him. This is the best gift Nepal have given to the world. Nepal, and for somewhat, India has forgotten this man. Look at these Chinese. They come here for what? They have everything there. They don't have to come here and sniff the dust. Look at the Westerners. They are here giving up everything in their home. Why? Just because of this guy called Siddhartha. Yes, Shiva, Vishnu, Krishna. All these gods, they probably are there, but they are not a human being, so they can't have a citizenship. If Siddhartha is still alive, he is a Nepali Daju, right? A Daju? Okay, now going back to the more serious business. So We have been talking about a view, which is the quintessential teaching of the Prajnaparamita Shritya. And I have talked again and again, the right view is important. And the reason why it's important, again, I'm repeating here, and this need to be repeated. Because we are all confused. We are always in confusion. We have delusion, basically, delusion. Tul is delusion, confused, delusion. Looking at things that are illusion and thinking it's real is a delusion, and that's what we have. And what does delusion do? It leads us to disappointment. It leads us to pain, suffering. What kind of delusions we have? So many. What was it? Now I'm getting, what do you call it? Dembarta. Okay. Something that is actually fundamentally pain and suffering, because of the delusion, we see as a joy or bliss. Something that has things that does not have any kind of inherently existing nature, we keep on seeing it as real and inherently existing. Things that are fundamentally filthy, such as this hand, we see it as clean. It's thanks to the, the soap, the shampoo, the shower taking, what do you call it? Pedicure, manicure, all that, it looks clean, but it's fundamentally, you try not to, do all of that, not wash your hands, not clip your nail, then you will see it's fundamentally filthy. But we always end up seeing it as clean. And things that are fundamentally impermanent, fundamentally shifting, drifting, fading, decaying, we see it as permanent. Why do we have that? Because we have the lack of having the right view. And because of this kind of delusion, we go on deeper, and we go deeper and deeper into more confusion and more suffering. Just the things that I've just mentioned. Actually, there's so many things. I think, for instance, I don't know, let's speculate. Looking at something totalitarian, we always think it's a democracy. Like something impermanent, we see it as permanent. Something that's totalitarian, dictatorial, actually we see it as a democracy. Misunderstanding, always confusion. Looking at a system, we think it's a freedom. But a system by nature is not a freedom. System is a system. You are already sort of closed. It's a system, but many times we could think it's a freedom. I don't know, like generating the poverty mentality or generating this mentality of there's always a lack of this, lack of that. We think it's economy. Stress such as scheduling, organization, management is misunderstood as efficiency. It's terrible. It's really terrible. It's so depressing, actually. Like for instance, I'm already making a plan, 2018 December, so date this and that, I'll be here, there. That time hasn't even come, and it's already crossed. The future time is already gone. And sucking up to other people's idea is misunderstood as an education. Clever plagiarism is misunderstood as originality. And near skeleton look like are misunderstood as a beauty. Conducted bulimic problems are considered as a healthy living. conducted and organized bulimic, sort of bulimic, people who vomit after eating, that kind of lifestyle, not eating, refraining, dieting, is considered, it's like the healthy and, beauty, whatever. There's just so much delusion, so much. I'm waiting for the iPhone 8. Everything. If I lost this, I would not know who I'm having lunch with today.
如果 iPhone 掉了的话，目前也不知道中午是到底要跟谁吃饭。
I used to remember the name, not only the names, but even the phone numbers of other people by heart. Now I don't even know my own phone number. So, the delusion which creates suffering is what we need to liberate ourselves from. So for that, path is necessary. And path, as I've said right at the beginning, was taught by the Buddha for different people, different capacities, different faculties. For some, he taught things that he really meant it. For others, his teachings were provisional. Buddha used all kinds of methods, not just lips moving to teach. Not only just used the language, he used everything, every gesture, every look. The Shakyamuni Buddha appearing barefoot, the barefoot is a teaching. Begging arm is a teaching. When in the, I don't know, some of you may have read Vimalakirti Sutra, there, when Ananda was asked to go, Vimalakirti, this guy is supposedly sick somewhere, so Buddha asked Ananda to go and ask how he is, and Ananda refused to go. The reason is, Ananda said, I was totally, embarrassed by this guy called Vimalakirti, because Ananda was, looking for something to drink, right?
I forgot.
I don't know, was it? Do you remember anyone? For Buddha. And because Buddha was not well. And Vimalakirti turned up from a corner and said, Ananda, what are you doing? And then when Ananda explained, I'm looking for this because Buddha is not well, Vimalakirti said, what? You should not be talking like this in the public. It's just such embarrassing. Buddha never gets sick. Buddha is beyond sickness. Buddha doesn't need this kind of thing. This is your mind. So he completely sort of humiliated Ananda. And anyway, as I said, Buddha taught in many different ways. And many of his teachings. But anyway, the content, the essence of the teaching, the subject of the teachings are always something like Four Noble Truths or Two Truths. I have said this yesterday or day before, that even the two truths is only for the sake of communication. There is no such thing as truly existing true truth. There are few things that you need to remember. One is this, the true truth, the concept of true truth is only for the sake of communication. The other thing that you need to also remember is even though we talk about true truth as the relative truth as something more inferior, ultimate truth as a superior, but we have to bear in mind they are actually one. Basically, we need to learn that these two are not a separate entity. The dismantling of the non-truth is the truth. Deconstruction of the relative truth lends yourself into the ultimate truth. This is why, again, for the sake of conversation between a student and a teacher, especially for the practitioners, uniting the two truths is like the homework, so to speak, the practice.
The
uniting the two truths is like the homework or the practice. How should I say? And it comes in many, many different different myriad of expression. The union of two truths. It's a little bit tricky here because when we talk about a union, we always think there's a two separate entity that need to be united, but it's not like that. It's a bit like a light and the shadow. In a way, they're a separate thing, but on the other hand, no light is the shadow, no, vice versa. I'm trying to answer some of the questions yesterday because it is true that as you read Heart Sutra like Mahayana Sutras, no nose, no eyes, no this, no that, no virtue, no non-virtue, no death, no end of the death, no nirvana, no samsara. You could misunderstood as something very nihilist, but that is absolutely not right. This is what said, if you misunderstood shunyata, it's the gravest consequences you can go through. And similarly, also I should mention to you, we should not also have clinging to a concept called emptiness. Even the emptiness does not exist. Absolutely important. Buddha said to Kashyapa, mountain-like ego is okay, but sesame seed-like, attachment to emptiness is worse. So it's really important the practitioners know how to really, for the out of lack of communication, how to harmonize the relative truth and ultimate truth. I have this question somebody asked this morning, I think it's from another, through the internet. I eat breakfast, I know it's a tomato, is that a judgment? Well, here we need to know, if you're talking about judgment as in ethic, morality, bad and good, sort of puritanical thing, then it is not a judgment. If you want to eat a tomato, but accidentally you put a potato that looks reddish and they misunderstand this as a tomato, for that kind of thing, you need some sort of a judgment that this is tomato, this is not potato, so and so. Here, what we need to know is a tomato is a label. It's a label, and then there's many different ways of, labeling it due to different culture. When a Nepalese make dishes, they have a certain way of looking at a tomato. And I'm sure when the Italians make pasta sauce, pomodoro, right? Pomodoro, they have a different way of looking at the tomato. And goodness knows what the goats and the fish and the birds think about the tomato. I don't think they call it a tomato. I don't know whether they go so fussy about the tomatoes. Because the Italians and Japanese can really go fussy with the tomato, especially if you are making a good pomodoro sauce, isn't it? And I don't know, it does have an effect. It does have an effect. This kind of, education, this kind of influence does effect. It does seem to have, the Italian pomodoro seems to be different from the, pomodoro served in Delhi, for instance. You understand? Psychologically, it could be. Yeah. So basically, it is, as one of the questioner was asking, is it a belief? Yes, it is a belief. Tomato is also a belief. For the time being, shunyata is as belief as tomato is a belief. But for Buddhists, our aim is to shrug off all the belief, including the tomato and the shunyata. That does not mean that an enlightened being will have no more tomato. Enlightened being can still have a tomato, just as how a mother is playing with a kid, building a sandcastle. This is why, for Avalokiteshvara, just switching the sex when he arrives in China, it's just so easy. It's like probably more easier than changing underpants. You have to read the part where in the Vimalakirti Sutra, where Shariputra went to visit Vimalakirti's house, and then instead of meeting Vimalakirti, Shariputra encountered this sort of Vimalakirti's, I don't know, maid, maybe his girlfriend, this beautiful woman. And Shariputra, proper monk, should not be, in one room with a girl, talking too long, talking too intimate. And he was a little bit, uncomfortable. But the girl, the goddess, she transformed Shariputra into a woman. And Shariputra says, oh my goodness, I've become a woman. You understand, so paranoid. And then the girl keeps on, what do you mean by woman? What is woman? It's just, it's like that, we just have to shrug off from the view, all kinds of view. For the enlightened being, for a Buddha, they don't have two truths. They don't.